For simple web-based streaming, especially for coaching clients getting started, I use StreamYard. It just works. For my own show or large client productions where I need more control, automation, and high quality, I use Ecamm. It delivers every single time. For podcast recording in low bandwidth environments with hard to book guests, I use RiversideFM. It records locally and uploads later. If all three of these platforms had a baby, the result would be EVMUX. I'm Kirk Nugent, your live video coach, and on this channel, I give you the step-by-step guides and practical tutorials for the do-it-yourself video creator that learns visually. And today we're looking at EVMUX, local record, and pro scenes, how to use them, and a few of my favorite examples. Let's dive in. So here we are in EVMUX. I am in the Amazon Live session because it's a blank slate. There's nothing in here. I have some assets already uploaded just to make this a little bit quicker, but hang in here with me, y'all. I've got a number of examples, about 5 or 6 different types of scenes that I'm going to build out. But let's first start with just a general example to showcase all the different things you can do with pro scenes, right? So first of all, right on the side here, you have pro scenes. And if you hover over it, it's going to give you some description. But essentially, pro scenes allows you it's like taking the training wheels off of the bike, right? Everything that you've ever wanted to do in your web-based streaming platform. You want to move a video here, you want to resize, you want to do a moving background. All of that stuff can be done right here in pro scenes. So let's just create one new pro scene as an example to get things started. We're going to be building on some of the content and information that we shared in all of our previous videos. So if you haven't checked those out, definitely hit the card that we're going to put right here in the video. Go back and check those out because we're going to be building on that information that we learned in those other videos. So here we can name it whatever we want. So we're going to call this example scene. And now you can do some of these popular ones. You can go to the speaker and you have all kinds of different formats and layouts for different speakers that you can have on screen. You have break. So if you want to design into your show where you're taking a quick little break, there's some really cool ones here. So you can build from the templates, but if you were watching this video, you probably don't want me to build from the templates. So you can easily go and check these out. You have a countdown here, several different kinds, several different ways, and you can even take the template and then modify them. You can even have a welcome screen that just says we're open, but I'm going to start with an empty scene. So we'll create that. We have an empty scene. And once we have the empty scene created or any pro scene created, you'll notice that this layers icon is open. Oh, all these other ones, they are there. We use them in the dynamic scenes. We may use them when we go live, especially if we want to do banners, especially if we want to chat with our guests, especially if we want to do comments. But graphics and styling in the pro scene, you don't need it. And you can see that here on screen here. This section is supported only in dynamic scenes. So here is where we're going to use layers. So there's only one option, that is to add a new layer. And we're just going to kind of go through some of these things. Let's first of all add a background. So let's do a media file. Let's add a background. I have a background. I think I have a background in here somewhere. So let's find a background, right? And this is pulling from all of the media files I have in my system. So here is a background. So background is added. Now, once you have this background added, you have these dots that are on the side, and that means you can actually drag it to change the layer priority. For those that understand like Photoshop or Ecamm or VMix, you're already getting excited because layer priority is a thing. You can hit these 3 dots on the background to replace the image. So just a direct swap. Sometimes when you bring in a different graphic, it may come in at a different layer. So you may want to just replace it directly there. You can actually duplicate this, right? If you needed to. I don't know why you would. Maybe you've resized it. You can rename it. You can lock it. So some of the things that are some of the things that you have for the graphic here in the layer section, but on the actual graphic itself, you have all these options at the top. So one of the things we can do is we can size this down if we wanted to. let's say this is not something we want as the background. Maybe this is something you want as a flyer. So you can size it down to be in the place of a flyer. You can actually, of course, make it big and have it take up the whole screen, which is what it does by default. But then when you click back on it again, we can go in and specifically change dimensions. We can go do style and effect settings, right? So you can change its transparency. You can even round it, the corners. I'm not gonna do any of those. You can actually crop the image. So maybe there's just one portion of it that you want. And that I've done that before when I was trying to use a background for some lower thirds, custom lower thirds that I created. I cropped the graphic, the PNG down some, so it just have the background for the lower third. So you can actually crop the image. Then here you have the ability to move it up and down in its priority. Style and effect settings are here, and as I mentioned, you do have this. You can restore your aspect ratio, or you can stretch to the entire canvas. That makes it simple, so you don't have to drag the edges. So you have all those options. So we've added a background. Okay, so now let's go ahead and add a video. Let's add a video. Let's add a video here. So we're going to click add new layer. We're going to click to add a media file, and I'm going to click to add this video. Right? So this video has been added to the scene. This is a video that I would use when I'm on Amazon Live. And some of you guys are like, no, you're not going to do it. No, you're not going to do it. And yes, I am. I'm going to size this video down, guys. I mean, I don't know. You can see that I get that line as well. You get that haptic feedback when you're actually designing. So I can size this video down. I'm going to size it really small because I want to get a couple other things on screen. So I'm going to put this up here. We're gonna put this up here, and I have all of these options now. Remember, I still have the 3 dots on the side. I can replace the video, lock, hide. I can hide it. I mean, you can duplicate your scene and just hide it. And then of course I can rename it, but it is named appropriately MV7. So I'll know what that is when I look in my layer list. Naming is critical. You're gonna hear me say that multiple times throughout this video today, but naming is critical. So here I wanna make sure that it loops. So let's click on the wheel. I'm clicking to make sure that it loops. I also have the ability to adjust the sound for the video. Now, this particular video does not have any sound, but I can adjust the sound for this video here in the settings, style/effect settings. We can do the dimensions here again. You can do full, restore aspect ratio, stretch to the canvas. We can crop the video if we needed to, and of course we can change its layers, right? So it's there now. It's going to keep moving. We're gonna leave it right where it is in its place. Now let's add a camera. So we're gonna add a new layer. We're gonna do the speaker, right? We're gonna do a speaker. Boom, let's do speaker. I'm gonna add myself, and bam, there you have my camera is on the screen now. I'm gonna size this down, and you'll notice I get that blue line once I match it up with the other video that's there, with the other item that's there, and boom, there I get another line. So now these two are actually sized the same way because you get those design cues. I can do some other styling and effects. I can hit this to do transparency around the corners. I can change my dimensions. I can change the lower third. I don't want to, but I can in this setting right here. And then I can crop it in, of course, as well if I wanted to. So I'm going to leave it just the way it is right there because I think that works for us. That works so far. Next thing I can add is let's add a new layer. Let's add a slideshow. So some of you know how I do my news/announcements on my show. So let's see if we can't add that here. So add new layer. Let's add a slideshow, and we're gonna create a new slideshow. Just call this news. And I'm gonna grab a PDF that I exported from Canva. This is the PDF right here. Let's add that PDF. And we're going to, once those things are added, all right, we have just a couple of slides here. We click back, and we now can click this, and it is now added to the scene. So I'm going to size this down as well. And you can size this down. I'm going to put this in the top corner here. I'm going to try and make this a little bit smaller because I want to fit some more things on scene. Of course, we would be doing this slightly differently if we were actually designing a scene for a show. I'm going to show you some of those, but I want you to get the rhythm of the options. Then we'll show you some practical examples. But so this is a slideshow in PDF format. And so here you can see that that is actually ready to go. And the way that I would move that slideshow is by clicking it over here and just selecting. I'm scrolling down, select the next one, and you can see how that animates on screen. I scroll down to the next slide, select it, and you can see how that animates on screen. And we'll give you an example of how that looks while you're live. When you're recording, there is a specific look to how pro scenes look when you're actually recording or live. So you have the program, the preview, and you can actually transition from one to the next. All of those things are possible when you're doing it like that. So we have this here now. Lastly, I want to do a share screen. I want to add a share screen. So I'm going to add another layer. I'm going to add a screen share. I'm going to add it from my own system. And so we do that there. Go. Now here, all we got to do is come down to the bottom, click on screen share. Let's select a Chrome tab. And for the purposes of what we're doing, we're going to select this website here. You can choose to share audio or not here, share tab audio. I'm going to click share. And once we have that in, it will take you to that particular page, but we don't need to be on that page. So I'm sizing this down to fit it into my scene. You can see that it's already snapping to the grid. So I can have that to the same size. And so now that screen share is also on screen. Really pretty cool. All some of the things that you can do already with this. And here's one of the things that's really also pretty cool is you can actually share the comment section from a YouTube video. So if I were to go to a YouTube, let's say a YouTube page, let's just pick whatever the first live, let's see here. So let's go to this one and in just a sec, look, there's chat. So now all we're going to do is come right here to the top of the chat, click this and say pop out chat. Now we have this chat popped out right here and it's looking good. We can dismiss this pinned message so that we can actually see the chat. And so now I'm going back to EVMUX. I'm going to stop this screen share. Let's remove that. Say yes. And we're going to add a different screen share. And that will go back to the Chrome tab and find that pop out. So you see that pop out that's right there? Boom. We say find that, click share, and it brings it back on screen. We can add it to the scene. Now I have live comments. Think about this, y'all, in my scene for my live show. So now I have comments, I have a product video, I have my slideshow. I can even add another guest in the corner here by simply coming here, click add new layer, add remote guest. We will just add a speaker. If that in that case, we'll click add for Carson. And this is how you would design for when your speakers are not physically with you. And so now I'm just dragging it to where it fits in with the other things that are there. And now I have a speaker, I have myself, I have a video playing on screen, I have a background, I do have live comments showing on screen, and I also have a slideshow. This is just some of the examples. Now, if I want to change layer priority, I can simply slide them back and forth, and we'll show you how that looks on some of the other scenes. The other thing that I would highly recommend here, guys, is that you lock. Make sure you lock when you're done designing. When you have something in the place that you want it, you want to make sure you lock them in place. So, and every time you click on one of these, you can see that it shows you just that one item, but you want to lock them in place so that your scene is ready to go. Now, let's do a quick video scene. So we're going to do this, click empty scene, create, add a layer. We're gonna do media file. Let's pick this bumper video. So we'll pick this 10-second bumper video. There.
Let's go behind the scenes with our special guests.
So this is a video scene.
How it all works.
And I can lock it if I want to, but I don't want to yet. So let's get onto the scene here. Boom. Let's turn off looping. Now we can select the volume level of that video scene right here in the in this style/effect settings. I can round the corners, all those things, but I want this to be a full screen video, right? So this is a scene that will play. And then of course, once the video is done, it's like 10, 11 second video. Once it's done, I want it to go somewhere. Where would I want it to go? I would want it to go to a different scene. And so you would go here to style/effects settings. You would simply go to where it says auto switch, right? Right now it says none. We'd simply select that and click example. And when this video completes, it would go to the example scene. So it automates that process for you. See that this is it's getting very exciting. The other thing that we can do here is if we come over to the scene itself, right? We didn't name this scene. So let's come over to the scene itself. Let's rename it. Let's call this HIAW bumper, right? Call that bumper. We can put this scene up above the example one since it's gonna automatically go down to that one. And then we can click this again and look what it has here, stinger/transition. Let's add one stinger/transition to our example scene. Now I have this one. This is a How It All Works stinger that my team created. It is a WebM file, and I'm gonna click save on that. And you'll see now that this has this little 2 arrows pointing to it. So I'm gonna zoom in on that. You have these 2 arrows pointing at one another. That means that there is a transition. There is a stinger attached to this scene. So when that scene plays, it will automatically have that stinger transition, right? So that's pretty cool. Let's do one more scene where we just select a full screen camera, and then we'll put some overlays on top of it. So here we're going to select this. I'm going to do this in the opposite order because I want you to see something. Let's select media files first, and let's select our overlay. If I can find one here. I'm scrolling. I've uploaded a lot of things. So here's an overlay. Let's select that. So that is my overlay for my show. This is my overlay. So now I want to add text, and I'm going to put my name here. I want that to be Kirk Nugent. I do want my font to be, I don't know, a little bit different. Let's do that like that. I like that. Let's change the color. It's got to have the How It All Works purple. Let's get that. That should be closer there. Yeah, something like that. So let's keep that there. I could just put the hex code in as well. But this, just for the sake of quickness, we'll just do it like this. And then, of course, I can just drag it onto where I want it to be. Right? So that's where I want it to be. Now that I'm thinking about it, I usually put my name in white, y'all. On top of that black background. Okay, so now I have my text overlay on top of my overlay for the entire screen, but now I need a camera. So let's click and add another layer. Let's click and add the speaker, which would be me. In this case, we add Kirk. Boom. We add it, and then we just come here to dimensions and we say stretch to canvas. All right? No need to stretch it ourselves. Now we have it stretched. Now the scene's done, right? Wrong. The scene's not done. We need to shift this down. So we can grab it from here and shift it down, or we can go here and move it down and move it down. You can see it advancing down here. And once we're done, now we can see the graphics that we have already created. I created this graphic in Canva. It's a transparent overlay. And we're used to this from all the other streaming platforms. But here I create it, I drop it in. I can create yet another text overlay, add, let's say text. And you know, you want to rename these. So I'm gonna rename this. This is gonna be my name. This one we'll call it, we'll rename this, we'll call it banner. And I'm gonna call this welcome to how it all works. All right. Now I definitely want this to be purple. So we'll get this in there, purple. And we will put this right on top of my line here at the bottom. I can go to the paragraph thing. I can change the weight of the font to make that a little more bold. I can change the line spacing. I can change the font size. Don't want to. I can actually change the letter spacing as well. And there it is. Just need to drag it out a little bit more. And there it is. Welcome to How It All Works is on the screen. I still want that font to be slightly smaller. So let's make that slightly smaller and make that line spacing good. And we're good to go. Welcome to How It All Works. And if I want to, remember, you see what just happened there? I clicked and it moved my name. So I'm going to go ahead and follow my own advice and lock some of these while I can. Then I'm going to add one more layer of text. And this one is going to be my handle. Right? And this, we will, of course, we want this to be purple again. And yes, if you have your hex code, that's going to be easier, guys. So do that. And we definitely want this smaller. So font size, we want it smaller. We want to drop it right in there, but we do want the weight to be a little heavier. All right. And then we can drag that to where we want to be. This font size still need to be just a little bit smaller right there, and just drag again. Now I can lock this one, and this scene is ready to go. So I can go back to my other scene. Let's put a transition on this scene as well. Let's go back to our stinger, and we're gonna add this to that scene. And from our bumper video, right? Our bumper video, we're gonna see it says auto switch to example. Let's change that to switch to sample. We're gonna switch that to new scene. See, unfortunately, I didn't name that scene properly, so we're gonna switch to new scene. And these are essentially ready to go. If I want to add a scene that is just a flyer, I can add a scene here. I can call this scene, rename it. Call that flyer. Okay. Let's get our rename here. Flyer. Add a layer. Media file. Find my show flyer. Boom. And that flyer one is ready to go. So I can put this up here. I can rename this. Let's call it host. All right. Call that host. And so now I've got that named. We're ready to go. We are ready to go. So we have our flyer scene. We have our How It All Works bumper scene. We have the host scene, and we have the example scene, which has all that stuff on there. Now, one of the things that's really cool is you do have the ability to go in here to hotkey settings and set your hotkeys. So you can actually play next scene. Play scene 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. You can set your hotkeys, have them set up on your Stream Deck, right? Which I have right here. And I can set my hotkeys. I have a EVMUX profile on the Stream Deck, and you can see that these hotkeys are corresponding with the keys that are on the screen, with the hotkeys that are in EVMUX. So if I click to close this, make this full screen, let's just do a quick record. Let's go to the first scene here. Record. It's going to be a local record, a recording to the cloud. Start. And as that gets ready to go, you will see now that we have to click transition. Now I can click to play this.
Let's go behind the scenes with our
I can click transition.
Let's go behind the scenes with our special
and I can mute the preview
to figure out
while the live show is actually playing. And then you see that it automatically went to the host scene, right? And we even got the transition, all of the different things. Here's the other thing that I love. I can hit the Stream Deck hotkey and go to the next scene. We're seeing that there we go. And we could transition.
Let's go behind the scenes.
So we have our example scene here, and we can hit transition. Boom, we're on the example scene now as well. So you can kind of get a feel for what that workflow would be. But to be clear, every scene is individually designed. Every scene is individually designed. So all of the different things, all the layers that you have in each scene is individual. So you design for each scene. So you think about your show, you break it down into scenes, you design those scenes, put them in your order, and you can just kind of make your way through them as you see fit. The last thing that I want to share here is, of course, you can come here to your scenes and duplicate them as well. Say you have a base and some of those elements you're going to use in another scene. You can do that in this space. Just come right to the scene itself, go to duplicate. You can duplicate that scene, make the changes you need to, and you can go for it. So if I click on host again, that transition, and
let's go behind the scenes.
There we go.
With our special guests.
There it is. All right, and there it is. And so whatever you have in this left window is your preview. We can preview it. We can even listen to it, right? We can preview that, and then you can hit the transition button for it to go to your live. The right screen is what people are seeing in the live show. So you can go to multiple different things here and see that. In the Stream Deck, also you do have the ability to change to do the mute for the backstage. You can do the mute for the preview scene, and you can do the mute for the live. You can mute and unmute all of those in your Stream Deck as well. Let me say as hotkeys as well. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about that as we get ready to wrap up the video. But right now, I want to make a switch over to my How It All Works already defined show in EVMUX and show you what that looks like. So here we are in the How It All Works session, and I've already started the record process. So we're ready to go live. So when we hit the transition button, our flyer is up. The next thing up is the countdown. I have that playing here, but I can pull that down. Let's transition that. So now the next thing that will be up is the stinger or the intro for the show. This is a 5-minute video or 3-minute and 33-second video. So we're not going to let it all play. So we're going to transition. You can see that transitions. The next thing that's coming up is the host's graphic. So we have that come through there. You can see the host is on screen now. And so I would normally talk through my portion of the show. We built out this scene already. So most of these are familiar to you already. This one is a bumper video for the news. So we have that there, and then that would bring up the news scene. And this one is a PDF presentation like we built earlier. And so here I would simply go to the presentation itself by clicking it here on the news announcements, and then just simply scroll to the next slide, and you can see that it would change both for preview and program. So I go to the next slide, click changes for preview and program, and you can actually go through and adjust even the way that this animates. You can even automate it so that it plays at a specific interval if that's what you want to do. So you would simply, in order to do that, unlock it, click it to manage it. And then you have all of these animation speed. If it's automatic, you have the slide animation here as well. You have all those things that you can do for those slideshows. So that's something really cool to check out and something really cool to leverage for your show. I have an additional scene that I've created that I wonder if you can see the difference between the two. One of them, the previous scene had a static background, whereas this one has a moving background, and you can see that here, the bottom layer of the scene is this looping background. It's an MP4 file that I simply just downloaded from a free animation site, put it in, uploaded it into the system, and then moved it with layer priority down to the bottom. And so this is a transparent graphic that has my How It All Works logo, the website, those banners and stripes that you see on the screen, all of those things. You can see how that scene is built. Of course, I am on the screen in a cropped look. And then you have that banner at the bottom that says, "Welcome to How It All Works." Then you have the presentation, the PDF presentation that I call news/announcements. The next thing we have is a studio bumper. So we would play that, and then that would bring us into this scene, which we used before. We used this before in terms of being able to showcase this product online while live. So we were able to do that. And this is a scene that I would probably use for Amazon, where I would play these videos right on the scene. So being able to have the Pro Scenes ability to size these down, this is a really good use for that. Then you can also I have another bumper, of course, that would lead us into the live show. And of course, here now I have a guest. So I just had Second Machine. This is my laptop, but I don't have the camera on. So Second Machine is in the system with me. I can take comments by simply going to the banner section, or sorry, comment section, putting a comment on screen. And again, those will work the same way that we're used to from dynamic scenes. And again, I do have the example of this with a moving background as well. So you can see that there. And then I also have an example of this with my guest, but this time with comments, live comments that I pulled in from YouTube. So those comments are on screen, and just kind of sized it down, cropped it, sized it the way that I want it. So now myself and my guest are on screen, and we have live comments on screen as well. This is another view that I was able to design, where I've got a full screen video of my guest with a picture-in-picture of myself in the bottom corner. The guest's name and title are there, typed as a text overlay on screen, where my overlay, or sorry, the lower third is coming in animated as the lower thirds are set up in the system with EVMUX. I have an outro video here, and then I have the show flyer, and that would literally end the show. And that, my friends, are Pro Scenes in EVMUX. Crop, move, and place camera or desktop video sources anywhere you want. Multiple layers allowing for individual design with built-in or external tools like Canva. Scene lock, ensuring everything is as you left it. Local recording for improved quality. It's all here, y'all. It's all here. EVMUX was made for producers by producers, and that's what makes it special. Hit the affiliate link in the description to get a free trial of the Pro plan. And let me say this, while creating this series, I stumbled into EVMUX Hotkeys, so there may or may not be a video coming on that. You're just gonna have to subscribe to find out. Learn more about EVMUX or other streaming platforms in these videos. Later. Woo!